We've got heat 6 of round 1 hitting the lineup now with Johanne Defay up against Steph Gilmore and Keely Andrew. This should be a good one, and we're going to see Stephanie Gilmore get things started here, and there is a beautiful snap to kick things off on this ride. Really stylish surfing, as always, and a lot of variety in this woman's act as she kicks out. But what an opening turn, Ross.
For Stephanie Gilmore, so she seems like I think she wants to really prove to the world that she is here and she's the best at lowers. And you could argue that she is. You know, what she's been doing out here for the last several years is kind of second to none.
Well, here goes Johanne Defay now in response to Gilmore. She comes into this heat as the highest seed, and she's a bit of a sneaker here at Trestle. She surfs very well on these long right-handers, and this will be a good start. This wave is stretching out forever, and one of the fittest surfers on the Women's Championship Tour has the fitness levels to keep knocking turns out right down the line.
Yeah, it's easy to get gassed out. This is a very, very long wave, so that's where the cross-training comes into effect for all these surfers. And a nice opening, strong carve there. That's sort of her comfort zone, isn't it? She's very smooth. She likes to draw out those carves. I would say that's sort of her strength, is that traditional power carving. Throws a lot of spray. It's very scoreable. Keeps her her board in the water.
That's Steph Gilmore's opening ride, and we'll slow this first move down, Ross, and you can break it down technique-wise.
Well, watch her lower body. She is the best, you know, I don't care, man, woman in the world at using her knees. When she needs to, she can kick free like there, and see how she knocked that back knee down? That gave her that leverage. So not only is she applying power, but she's keeping that momentum up by using her lower body. So you'll see a lot of surfers that kind of have these power moves, they'll get extended and use that leverage, but for her, she's very fluid.
Allows her to stay on top of her board, maintain great control and speed as she motors down the line once again here. Her second ride, drifting that tail, and she's going to ride out of that maneuver. So this is already looking like it's going to be a solid backup score. The first wave came through at an 8.5. And she just blitzed that second wave. This is going to be another good number for Gilmore. We've seen some good reward for those surfers willing to throw a bit of risk into their surfing. We saw it from Malia Manuel in the first heat of the day.
Yeah, that's I think all the surfers today that have won, they surf with confidence. You can see it. They're not holding back. There's no tentativeness. It's just straight power and confidence.
Well, Johanne has a look at a wave there from a pretty late position. She took that wave, but it shut down pretty quickly.
How assured Stephanie Gilmore was of what she was going to do on this wave. She wasn't holding back. It didn't look like she was going to try and just finish this wave off. She was trying to rip this wave as hard as possible. And that right there is exactly what I'm talking about. That is so aggressive. She could have easily just tagged it and, you know, gone for an okay score, but instead she's trying to max it out.
Well, this is Keely Andrew, who's been pretty quiet in this heat so far, but Keely, a really strong small wave surfer. Her style will be suited to these punchy little rights. She gets the opportunity to string a few turns together. Surfs with a lot of speed, Keely. She brings it through to the inside. Very clean on the finish there.
For Stephanie Gilmore, and you know, there's still 29 minutes on the clock, so this is a solid wave here for Keely. A couple of strong maneuvers. You can see not quite the same variation we had from Stephanie Gilmore, where she was sliding to fins and really using her lower body.
Yeah, there's definitely some creatures around here. Here we go. This is Stephanie Gilmore looking to step things up once again, trying to get rid of a 7.93 and just surfing with so much flow, kicking that tail like nothing else as she lets go of another committed turn on the inside and just powers, finishing right below our noses, Ross, on the inside here, just below the commentary booth. The crowd just eating up this performance.
I'm so impressed. You know, that was not an easy wave to surf. Again, she has an 8.5 and a 7.93. That's got a great chance of getting rid of that 7.9. And this is on a wave that she easily could have surfed into a 6.5. See, kind of slopey. There's that statement move, again, kicking her tail out of the back. That's not easy to do. And then this is where the wave, she got caught behind. but she easily caught up with that effortless speed. And then she mixed it up again. You can see those knees, so beautiful how low she gets up to the deck of her board, keeping that momentum and that projection going down the line. Not once did she bog a rail. That was excellent surfing. Yeah, it's you know, it literally is one of those ways where you just camp out and try to build your clips.
All right, well, here we go. This is Johanne Defay trying to build scores. Strong first turn, but that wind is a bit of a factor now. It's kicked up quite a bit since the start of this heat. Almost after Steph Gilmore locked in 2 excellent scores. So Johanne having to work hard. It wasn't the biggest wave, and as a result, it really kind of held her back.
Yeah, 100%. You know, that wave didn't have enough power in it to do any kind of big surfing. So she's going to be back to the drawing board. She'll continue to be comboed, but let's look at her technique. A little bit of a wider stance compared to, say, Stephanie, but she still was able to free that tail up. So again, that's that kind of addition that she's acquired lately in the last year or so. She used to just really heavily rely on her rail surfing, but now she's not afraid to bust the fins free. So a nice turn, but too small of a wave.
Just Steph and Carissa have that ability to do their best surfing with the jersey on, and we're seeing more of that on display here. They just look so comfortable in these colours. It doesn't hold them back at all. The stress of heat, so I think they have so much confidence with their amazing results that the stress of heat surfing doesn't get to them. Doesn't get to them in high pressure situations at the back end of heats.
Different Stephanie Gilmore. She definitely looks way more confident and interested, as we see another little peek here at Keely Andrew. Just 22 years old, so you know, this is again a learning curve for her this year, even as he.
Just over 2 minutes, and Steph Gilmore, we get the opportunity to see her tear another wave apart. And she is just looking so in control with those fins-free turns at this stage of the game. And there's just that equipment. You can see how well she's flowing over these dead sections. 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. She is just cruising her way through to the 3rd round at this stage, because Johanne Defay and Keely Andrews still comboed and running out of time. Here we go. Keely Andrew just looking to find her place at trestles with this ride. You can see the talent is there, just figuring this wave out.
She can go ahead and put this board on ice. Darren Hanley is looking very nifty, Ronnie. And again, this is just a little victory lap right here. You know, she's not fixated on trying to get a score. She's just zipping around. You know, so that was, you know, for her, it's going to be such a confidence booster. Her and Carissa.
And it'll be a huge boost to her confidence as she moves through the draw here at the Swatch Women's Pro. Johanne Defay, some real positives for her, a 6.5 and a 6.47. That probably would have got her through a couple of other heats in the first round, Ross, but just not enough to match the 6-time world champ.
Now a bit out of rhythm. I don't feel like Johanne really bogged this heat or had a shocker. You know, it just I think this wave right here is a little bit of a microcosm of how her heat went. She had those waves that are sort of A-framey. They didn't give her that nice steep wall where she could commit to some big moves. So I don't think she needs to get too upset about this heat and just go ahead and take her concentration to round 2.
Well, Steph Gilmore reflecting on what was a very strong performance. A heat score total of 16.7. It was a great day, Ross.